guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video we'll be talking about the tips, how to speed up the process of learning astrology, make it fun and also make it easy as possible. Also we'll be talking about what I could do better in my years of learning astrology, when do we start and why it is so important. So if you will use these steps, then you will see the noticeable growth and you will also save your time. And in opposition, if you're not having it, then you can waste time, you can be frustrated and ultimately you can give up the Jyotish. And we know that giving up Jyotish is like giving up Vedanga, so it's not very auspicious. All these tips apply also to Western and Chinese astrology, so maybe also you will benefit if you are in those traditions. If you are brand new here, my name is rgendarz and this channel is all about Vedic astrology in the tradition of Srila with the analytical, research and example-based approach. The last video we did 60 likes. Let's see if this video can get 100 likes. Only of course if you like the video. If you do, please like, comment, share and click that subscribe button with the bell notification on so you're always notified when the new videos like this comes up. So now let's dive right into the video. So here we'll be discussing the ways to organize the notes through software, examples, tradition and teacher, how this helps, having colleagues doing the readings as a practice to get the skill and intuition, and the Sattvic lifestyle. So at the end we have also the tips from other astrologers. At the very end we have tips from Visti Larsen with his 5 instructions how to make this learning process very effective. So please bear with me till the end of this video. So the first point is the software. As you can guess, the knowledge will get bigger and bigger, so you need some systems, some process, some methods to organize all this knowledge. And just like judges, when they want to see some laws, they are also opening some book and they have all these laws and regulation. So they don't know everything by hand, but it is important to know where to look for the information you need. So especially in the beginning, we need to memorize few theory blocks like the lordship of the signs, the grouping of planet signs and the houses, what they mean, what this means, the Badaka, Marana, Karakastana, also when the planet is strong, when it's weak, all this theory. Also the tithi, some of the panchanga, the nakshatras, we have 27 nakshatras, so the lordship of the nakshatras is also important. So there are few things to memorize at the beginning to then later dance in all those significations. So what kind of notes we can put in these notebooks? First of all, it would be all terms, the Sanskrit terms, especially if you are not familiar or not exposed to any Vaishnavism or any yoga, Advaita, then you are not familiar with all those Sanskrit terms like dasha, vata, guna, sattva, all those interesting words. So you need a dictionary to put this into your notes. So then we have the mantras. So you have Shiva mantras, you have the Vishnu mantras, Devi mantras. So for the remedies, it's very important. And then based on the house of the problem, then the aksharas, the number of syllables are very handy. For example, if you have problem in 10th house, then we are using the 10th akshara, 10 syllables like Om Namo Bhagavate Rudraya, if this is remedied by Shiva mantra. So in this case, you can also collect your mantras in those notebooks. Then we have the Varga charts. We know that we have 16 additional charts. This is something which is specific for Vedic astrology. Then we have 12 houses in each Varga. So this is like 16 times 12. This would give us 192 meaning of the houses. It's also important to know their meanings. So there will be a group of people prefer the online notes. Some good benefits from that is that security. You can set the password, even the 2-fold password, so it can be verified by phone, so you have this double check and no one is getting into your notes. It gives that feeling of security, which is very nice. Then we have that search function. For example, if you are doing the reading and then you need to, for example, find some syllable, you need the Hoda chakra, you don't memorize all the syllables when they are in the chart, so then you are just typing Hoda chakra search function. In 5 seconds you have the chart and then it's very quick to find the pieces of information you need. And also for those like me whose handwriting is horrible, I remember we were doing the notes in the Gemini course. So sometimes the pace was very fast. And then when I look now to my notes, some of these parts is very hard to read. So for those whom handwriting is not the best, also the online option may be the suitable. Also the tag option is very handy. For example, let's say you have some rule which is related to 3 areas. So you don't need to copy that rule for these 3 notebooks or 3 folders, or let's say you have a nice chart which is showing the marriage, health and work. So you don't want to copy it to each chart, because for example, if you modify in one, you have to be aware that you have to modify also in other places. So the other way to structure this information is to attach the tags. So you can attach to one post or one note 3 tags, and in this way this is also searchable, easy to find, and you don't need to copy this information. The other thing is the synergy. So one type of information may be used for various places. For example, you're writing the article, some parts of this you can use for courses, some parts of this you can use for social media, for YouTube videos. So in this way you are also kind of ergonomic with this approach. And for some people, the vintage or the offline type of handwriting will be more suitable. Definitely this offers less distraction, so for those who are suffering with the focus, this way can be also relief. You can include the drawings, the charts, much more easy. It's also very quickly to access. You can grab it to the train and you can read in the train, very easy. You have always this a physical object close to you, and then you are using other sensory inputs like the smell, touch. Yes, there was some scientific article that is also important to remember. And then the tips for this is to use the colors and stickers also with colors, so you can always very easy to find this piece of information which are important for you. So when you want to use the online, the software, we have the Evernote, we have Notion, we have OneNote. These 3 would be most important. Then we have the Xmind, which is mind mapping software. This is very good for brainstorming. This is from Hong Kong. In 2006 they started. It's based in Java. Very handy because it is nicely, if you like the structure, bullet points, Rahu Mars, maybe in your chart, then the Xmind can be good for you for notes, even for the readings, even for brainstorming, very good software. I'm not sponsored by any of this software, maybe I should, but this is my experience with using them. So all these 3, Evernote, OneNote and Notion, they are free. There is also some pro version. For Evernote is €7, for Notion is $4 a month, and OneNote is completely free. OneNote is the only Microsoft Office software which is basically free for you to use. So you can use any of this software to collect information, structure them, and make it very fast to find them if you need. And the other point is examples. Very important. Probably you have seen some of the Sanjay Rath lectures. So this is mark of our tradition. We are using a lot of examples to show how the rules are really working, to understand the language of Jyotish. In this way, we are also not always analyzing everything on our chart. We can be very biased when we analyze everything on our chart. And also it's advisable to use chart of people who are a little bit elder. This was also my mistake. When I started, I was always analyzing my friends who were like 25. They were not in jail, nothing major really. So 3/4 of the chart is inactive. So if you are doing examples, you are basically gaining that faith in astrology. You are going from this anecdotal type of proof where only one chart to the statistical, and this will give you a lot of faith in astrology and strong conviction. So that experience that one rule is working on a 10th chart in a very reliable way will really convince you strongly to astrology. Also in the process of learning, you will be exposed to many rules which are related to the same thing. For example, timing, economical success. So you need to have work with those rules on examples to understand which rule in the best way depict the situation based on your type of interpreting the chart. And this can really be gained only when you are going through those examples. Also, you get those nuances, how the astrology work, which cannot be gained by theory. And this is because the astrology has its own language, and because there are many levels which will depict the one situation from a lot of perspectives. So you need to understand what they are really showing to get the whole picture. Let's say that 7 Lord is in one chart afflicted, then Venus in the other, the Upapada. Then how you would know, is the partner problem, is it attitude, is it marriage, is it the outer circumstances, maybe the in-laws, maybe the health. So you need to understand all those levels. Also the specific language, how the yogas are talking to you. For example, one yoga can give you indication that some organ from your body can be removed. You can have a dancing skill, and you may be very active at night. One yoga can give all those 3 situations which, from perspective of our conventional knowledge, are totally not related, whilst in Jyotisha they are coming from the one root. But the reverse also holds true. One category of disease may come from different combinations in the chart, and by knowing which houses and which lords and which yoga is giving that specific disease can help you to handle the disease itself. It will give you that additional information. So this is like surgeon. You can have a lot of theory during your studies, medical studies, but then you need the time to really get that experience, which will help you to digest all those information. So how you get those examples? You can do a chart for family, for friends, you can write on forums, you can also have a client. You can also use the Astrodatabankam. This is a database of celebrities, from serial killers to YouTube influencers, actors, surgeons, lawyers, politicians, thieves. So that's the whole database. But much better is friends, clients, and your family, because then you have the whole access to their lives. Whilst when you're dealing with celebrities or with the external biographies, then this can be very much manipulated and written from some external perspective, which can omit many personal facts. And then if you use the software, then you can gather those charts and you can have nice database of examples. The next point is about joining a tradition, learning from a teacher. This can sound like some conservative instruction, but it has nothing to do with politics. It is more related to value of this knowledge, which we can call the intellectual property. So astrology has this guhya aspect, which is a little bit secret. This is like the gnosis in the medieval age philosophy. And you will see that the texts are also giving a very vague interpretation. They are not really giving you the logic. The logic, how the results are coming from specific yogas, is only coming from the tradition. Because then there is some trust which also can be transmitted, and then the knowledge and the trust, they are very much connected. Even now in every type of intellectual property, be it cooking, web designing, music production, video editing, the general type of knowledge is given, but there are also some tips and secrets for those who are following some kind of school or lineage. Because also they were earned with a lot of hard work, so they are also shared in the way that which keeps the value and also respect the authorship, the person who started the line or who authored some methods and so on. So if you have the physical object, you can protect them through some kind of borders, barriers, locks. But if you have an intellectual property which is easily shared, the only way is to value the authorship and create the situation in which this value is respected. Many people demand that it's free of cost and free access, but you have to ask yourself, would you open your house to and its resources to be shared by everyone? If not, then your argument sounds very idealistic and nice, but it's not very practical. This is the way to learn something, that you are joining course if you want to learn yoga, if you want to learn Ayurveda, meditation, cooking, programming, then you are joining some courses and then you get some blocks of knowledge. This is the way to progress. Also, we say that Jyotisha is Guru Mukha Gamya, which is given by the mouth of Guru. Parashara also is using that. There is one shloka which says nadehi, so not give. Don't give this to students who are not respecting this knowledge. And this is related to the paradigm that this knowledge is descending from the top. So it's not accessed by research, but it is given by the rishis. So it's going from the top, and then through the tradition you are accessing that. This is also the nature of the Shabda Brahmana. Shabda means sound and Pramana means the proof. So you are getting the knowledge and information about how the things are by someone speaking. So it's the authority thing. So if you understand this philosophical assumption is coming from up, descending, the knowledge is ascending, then you will also understand in better way this epistemological approach, which is the getting it from the tradition in such way. So then the question, what are the best books? I always say two. One, Sanjay Rath, Crux of Vedic Astrology. I always say this is the best one. It's like a Bible of Jyotish. This was also my first book and I consider this the best. So then you have each chapter is like one house. You have a dozen of examples, secret rules, And reading this book alone will lift you from the beginner to intermediate level. The second book, which I always recommend, is Jyotish Fundamentals by my teacher Visti Larsen. Fantastic book. Also chapter by chapter based on the houses. Also many examples, very solid logic. This is the hallmark. Visti Larsen, Scorpio Lagna, very strong Mars. Everything is definitions, everything is very clear. The reasoning, theoretical background, expertise, very high in this book. I strongly recommend this. It was really fun to read it. I probably in 3 days, 2 days, I did the whole book. Then we have the Shastra. The Shastra are the traditional texts. So we have two which are important, Brihad Parashara Horashastra and Jaimini Sutras. This treated as the highest text. Why? Because these are authored by the rishis. Rishis are the seers. So Brihad Parashara Horashastra is written by Parashara Rishi, and Jaimini Rishi is the Jaimini Sutra Upadesha author. So they are the highest type of authorship. Then we have the Sharavali, very nice to explain moon placement, many yogas, Mula, Naisargika Dashas. Then we have the Jataka Parijata, Sarvarta Chintamani, Brihad Jataka, written by Varahamihira, also very high authorship. He also written the Brihad Samhita, text about mundane astrology. Then we have two important, Prashna Marga from South, translated by B.V. Raman. Very good text for Prashna, Nimitta, omens. And then we have Muhurta Chintamani for both Muhurta, which is the electional activity starting, when it's good time to start, and also for Sambandha, which is the general compatibility. So we have nice balance of Shastra, which are the traditional texts written hundreds years ago. And we have also the articles, lectures, books written by the now living teachers. It's very important to have the balance of these two, because then the Shastra also say that you have to test the guru. So you are reading what's written now and you can compare it to the ancient. You can ask, oh, why there is difference? Why there is this discrepancy? What is the logic for this? So then you can connect. No one can shake you. You have very strong foundation. So how to do it? You can join the group or people who are associated with the teacher coming from such tradition. When it comes to our tradition, you can join Sanjay Rat or Visti Larsen course. For Polish people, I'm also doing in Poland. So you have to be close to such people which are related to the school. And then you will get that interpretation of this ancient text. And this will lift you up with your learning. So now it's very easy to get those books online, Amazon. If you don't like to sponsor the Jeff Bezos, then you can use other sites. So now it's quite accessible. So the next point is about having colleagues. So you will see that in every field, it is making learning those skills much more quicker and better. It gives you that motivational energy, little bit of positive competition, access to resources and the reference points when you can judge your progress. You can also share experience, how does dasha work, how this varga works, how these rules are effective, what you are really using in your chart analysis. Also, you can back up files, back up materials, resources. You can also organize the studies, like I'm now teaching in Poland in the economy studies. We are teaching Jyotish there. And I've shared this material with two of my other colleagues and we are doing that together. So how to get those network? You can join the Facebook groups, the Telegram groups, you can join conferences, forums, and you can also go to the teachers. Around these teachers there will be people associated, so you can get in contact with those. The next step is doing the readings, and what I mean by this is not the commercial specifically, but just doing it for friends and family. So this has the same value as doing the examples, but this has also something additional, because when you are analyzing these examples, then this is making the whole system more practical and human, and you are more in touch with that sensitivity of asking the questions and giving the answers, and the whole process is becoming more familiar to you. You also are forcing yourself to use the things you have learned, and also you will get more examples of more experienced people age-wise. And so how to do it? You can offer your services to friends and family, and you can also write on forums on the internet. There are always many people who are very eager to know their charts. So the next important point would be the Sattvic lifestyle. We could call it also the academical lifestyle. So is there any type of living which can increase us to learn and digest the knowledge? And here especially related to such deep insights. It's about the intuition, predictions and astrology. So if we read Bhagavad Gita, we know that the one or two features of Sattva Guna, this is the mode of goodness, is the jnana, which is knowledge, and also sukha, which is the happiness coming from inside. If there is a peace, then one can see through water, one can go a bit deeper. Also, we know that famous quote from David Lynch, if you want to get a big fish, you have to go deep in the water. So the planets which are controlling the Sattva Guna are the Sun, Moon and Jupiter. So this is like in the yoga. First, these are the yama niyama, so these are the rules of conduct. So what you have to do to get more effective and to get more long sustained outcome or effects when you are doing yoga. So you have to do this yama niyama to get then into the asana, pratyahara, pranayama and dharana. And especially I would say this sattvic disposition, as we could call it, this peaceful sattvic disposition, also the lifestyle, it's very important for synthesis. For the analytical part, it's not so important because you are anyway in that tunnel vision, you are focused on getting into a more detail. But the synthesis part demands the wider perspective, which can only be achieved in the Sattva Guna. So how to improve this would be the mantra, dhyana, which is the meditation, and the sattvic lifestyle. And what is the intuition? One answer would be the Paramatma, which is the God in our heart talking to us. The other definition would be the inner vision we have. And on the more material level, this would be the synthesis in us, which is happening automatically based on those parts of knowledge which are now going together. So this Jupiter has this Akasha Tattva, which is that space we glue things together, and then you are having that moment of revelation. So meditate for deeper insights and synthesis. The mantra in the morning, very good for get that, digest the information, rise the Agni and the Akasha in us. So we do the Agni mantras, the Akasha, the Guru mantras. We are doing the Om Gurave Namah, Vyam Vyasadevaya Namah. For purity and clarity, we say to avoid intoxicants. For the Ahimsa, which is also in tune with that sattvic lifestyle, we said that avoiding the meat and animal products is way to do it. So I've also asked about the blockages. What are the blockages people have? So one was the money. There are a lot of free stuff from our tradition only available. Then there was the health. Fortunately, Jyotisha doesn't depend on a lot of physical strength, and the Mrityunjaya mantra and other mantras based on the charts may be considered, may be helpful to increase our general health. The proper guru, it's very hard to find. I feel very lucky to be part of this tradition, especially I'm getting this feeling when I'm getting back to years when I was going through so many information, so many schools, and couldn't find the holistic explanations to these things which are around me, which I was analyzing. Other complaint was that there is too much online information. Some people are complaining for the other side. And yes, that's the benefit of the teacher school, that we can filter through all this information and we can judge other information based on what we got from our teachers. That gives you that peace. The many ayanamshas, so there are many ayanamshas. We are using the Lahiri, the Chitra Paksha ayanamsha. And yes, before joining some school, you have to test those settings, those assumptions, calculations, if they are depicting the situation in the way which is satisfying you. And the other complaint was the hierarchy of rules. Yes, this is a big topic. This interests me also a lot. Which rules overpowers which, where are the exceptions? But there is no answer to this, and this takes years of practice and theory. Now we are going to the tips from other people. So one person said that we have to learn houses, signs, planet, aspects, yogas, and the Lord is placed of one house in the another house. So when it comes to houses, we know we have 12 houses. They show the area of life. When it comes to signs, they show the vibe of the house. And the vibe in that house will also bring the strength to the planet which is placed there. When it comes to planets, so-called planets, we have 2 luminaries, Sun and Moon. We have 5 tattva planets, elements: Mars, Mercury, Jupiter, Venus and Saturn. And we have 2 nodes, Rahu and Ketu. So we have 9 planets, 12 signs. This gives us the magic number 108, which is all around the Vedic text. Then we have the aspects. Then we have the Rasi Drishti, which is the sign aspects, and the Graha Drishti, which is the planetary aspect. We have the yogas. So the yoga is formed by a combination of planets, so either by parivartana or UT, conjunction being in one sign, or the aspect. Then we have Lord of one planet into another house. So each house have the Lord basing on that sign in that house. And if there is Aries, then Lord of Aries is Mars. So Lord of that house will be Mars. And then Mars can be placed in other houses, can be 5th, 9th, 10th. And this position are bringing its own meaning and the story between these 2 connected areas of life. Also, we have the nice tips from Neha Goyal, the learn through stories in Purana. So this is very nice because this knowledge is coming from Vedas. So naturally it's connected to the stories, to the Lidas, and also learn about the anatomy and correlation of planets. So this was one tip from the Hagoyal. Then we have the tips from Astrology Now podcast. There is the Shastra, which are the texts. We are also mentioned that. The Guru, we also mentioned that. Here we have 2 qualities or 3 qualities. Curiosity, this is very nice. It's, I would say, Mercury trait. Then we have a humility, very important. In Gita it says when Krishna is clarifying what is the jnana, what is the knowledge, the first trait he mentions is the humility. It's very important to have that humility. I would call it the openness to that you may not know something and you have to be open to knowledge. And then we also have the devotion to study. So yeah, it can be a hard work. You must be passionate, you must be devoted to the subject. We have also tips from Trisha Wilson. Find a credible teacher in the lineage and stick with it when you are beginning before venturing off. Study daily, look at charts often. This basics creates foundation that most complex techniques are built on. Yeah, study daily. So interesting thing to be dedicated also, which was coming also from Astrology Now podcast. Have a tutor or a study buddy. Interesting also, this is similar to my point about networking. And the 4th, don't give up. Astrology is ocean of knowledge that can't be swallowed in one gulp. Be patient with yourself. So it's very interesting tips also. Thank you, Trisha, for that. And then at the end, we have the tips from my Guruji, Visti Larsen. I will just read them. So the first will be repeated study of one topic. Unlike most school and university studies, we don't complete a single Jyotish subject in its first study, but we revisit the topic from different angles several times. This requires patience as the advancement of the student enables them to see and understand more and more of the subject. This implies that the evolution of the student enables the broader view of the subject. Very interesting point. Second one, broad thinking. Jyotish is limited as life itself, therefore attempt to know the limits or boundaries of a principle before accepting it blindly and applying it. For each topic of Jyotish, we have many principles and each highlight a specific aspect of life. Take your time getting to place each principle in their respective context, as this will make your study much easier with time. The next one is don't be afraid of making mistakes. You will learn much more from your mistakes than from your success. Don't be afraid of making mistakes in order to get your answers. Good Jyotishis have many mistakes behind them. The next one, very interesting, don't let your ego get in the way. So Jyotish has been around for longer than anyone has lived and will continue to live beyond us. It has enough knowledge and it supports the future Jyotish forever and doesn't require you to justify its utility. Instead, it only requires you to use it correctly for the right person at the right time. Jyotisha is not a tool that you wield, instead you are the tool wielded by the seers. Wow, this is strong, this is deep. The next one, keep a regular spiritual practice. Jyotisha are also daivagya, which means one who knows the gods. They imitate the seer work of reading the divine plan, and this evolves into getting direct messages from the same divinity. A regular spiritual practice leaves the Jyotishi open to this and evolves their knowledge and study as well. So these are these 5 points from Visti Larsen. Very interesting. So we have the common regular spiritual practice. Very nice and interesting points about the ego and also about the utility and justification of this branch. So it gives that bigger perspective how this study is placed in the context of our life. Very interesting one. Many personal tips about ego, being open to and courageous to make mistakes, and how to understand the context of these rules, how this learning is also increasing layer by layer, giving you a new perspective. So very interesting points. Thank you, Visti, for this add-on. So that's gonna be it for me. I hope you find it interesting and informative. If you do, please don't forget, thumbs up the video, comment, share, subscribe with the bell notification on, so you are always notified when the new video comes up. I wish you all the best and see you in the next one.